patience as we're working out a few of the kinks here with our Zoom setup for tonight. Welcome. I'd like to introduce two of our technology instructional coaches who've been instrumental at putting together this parent university. Joellen Clive, who is the technology instructional coach at 3-5 and will be presenting tonight, as well as Courtney Graffius, who we are still troubleshooting our Zoom setup. And so she may be joining us if she's able. Please know that this meeting is being live streamed and available for later viewing at the following link on this presentation. Also know that this presentation is posted on our school's website, so you can access it and the links even as you follow along tonight.
Go. हाँ थोड़ी और भर थोड़ी और भर यार, पत्थर भी तो निकलेंगे। ट्रंक में रख, ये गंदगी यहाँ पे मत कर।
Our purpose tonight is to let you folks know that we heard you. We heard you from last spring. We heard you from our community needs survey and from the family help desk tickets that we got last spring as well. And very clearly we heard that parents needed some additional training opportunities as well as students. And we will be working with students during as they come into school and as they engage remotely. And this was the recommendation from the Academic Start Committee. I think we have a creative participant out there. There we go. Thank you so much. Our objectives for tonight and our agenda is to provide an overview of the technologies that are and will be available to students. And we're going to go over the hardware pieces as well as some of the key software pieces. We also want you to learn how to support your students as they learn to be independent. And that's what really this fall and this September is about, is helping our students become more independent with their learning. So we'll talk a little bit about our major applications. In that START committee's work group, they wanted consistency and simplicity, clarity. And so our hope and our choices with our software applications will provide that. And I'll revisit this as well, but how to get assistance. And that is that through that link, that would be appreciated. Just gotten a message from Courtney. If Courtney could raise your hand, Kelly, if you could see if you, the next raised hand, if you could try and bring Courtney in that way, that would be wonderful.
Courtney is in.
Beautiful. Hi, Courtney.
Can you,
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yay!
Welcome.
You're in for a few minutes. You're good. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for your patience, families. One of the pieces that came as a recommendation was to provide some consistency. So one of the consistencies, similar to last spring, is that every student has been assigned a Scarborough Public Schools Chromebook. Every student will have a Chrome account and a G Suite for Education account. We're going to connect all of our students are going to connect with teachers synchronously, live, and asynchronously on demand throughout their day. The only difference, if you are choosing 100% remote, is you will be connecting via the device versus the hybrid students will be coming into school for those live experiences. We streamline those technology platforms so that it can be more effective. We've used a single sign-on solution called Clever to help make it simpler. And for the K2 students, we've identified a badge system, and we'll learn more about that as well. We also use Common Sense media education materials. There's a link there for families if you'd like to learn more about Common Sense media. It's a wonderful resource. It has helped us in designing our digital literacy curriculum, as well as helping us out in providing resources for parents on how to keep up with this online media, which seems to change daily.
So I'm going to talk about our school issued Chromebook devices. So each student has been assigned a school Chromebook. The students are expected to carry their device to and from school each day if they come to school, so that they have a consistent device to use both at home and at school. While we are trying to minimize the tech use here at school and limit their screen time overall, we do want to take advantage of the opportunities that we have specifically to train our students in using the technology so they can best access the education while they are remote. So they are expected to bring that device back. At 3.5, there are some specific apps that are preloaded to our school Chromebooks. And for that reason, we do ask that students please use that school device when they are at home instead of a home device. Now that's a little bit of a change from the spring when you were welcome to pass on the Chromebook offered and use your home device. We're not going to force you to take a Chromebook, of course, but just know that it's so much easier if our students take their photos and videos right on their school device because it integrates so nicely with their Google Drive via the Chrome operating system on their Chromebook. And also all of our tutorials and directions that we give for students to follow are created around using the Chromebook and the Chrome operating system. So that may be a challenge for you to transfer that knowledge and that information to how it applies to a different device at home or a different operating system. And there's a short list here of a few things that we've provided on our school Chromebooks. For example, Chrome MP3 Recorder is only available on a Chrome account on Chromebooks. Chrome Canvas, a few other things, WeVideo Editor, a science journal, a few things like that. You'll notice throughout our presentation there are a couple of underlined areas in blue, and those are hyperlinks. And our presentation that we're sharing with you right now, not only is the video available for you to watch at another time, but the presentation is already posted on the scarboroughschools.org webpage, and you'll be able to view this presentation and click those links live to see all those links there. Now, this one that's highlighted here on this page is a video that a coworker and I created about how students can take photos and videos using their Chromebook, and you'll see several other links throughout our presentation. To the next slide, please.
Okay, this next slide is me. I'm Courtney Graffius, and I am the technology coach for the 3K2 schools. When your student signs into their school-issued Chromebook, they're going to use their Clever badge. So when they come home, they're going to have this badge that has a QR code on it, and it has a lanyard. And they're going to turn their Chromebook on or open up the screen, and it's going to say, sign into your Chromebook. There's that first picture there. And then the second picture is they're going to hold up that badge, and then they see a check sign, and it says all set. And there's one last step, the third step. They are going to get started. And once they are all logged in, the next slide shows us how to, or where they'll land. Actually, that is 3.5. So that's you, Joe.
We'll get to the where it lands in a moment. So for grades 3 through 5, their login looks a little bit different because our students are older. They are releasing some of that responsibility and allowing them to be a little bit more independent. We don't provide them with the badge. Instead, we provide very specific, detailed login information, and we do that with them here at school when they're here for the first time. Although some of you have probably done that at home already with your 4th and 5th graders, but 3rd graders who came to school today did that with their teacher today. There is a link here to click for those directions, but here's on how that looks. This is the first screen they will see when they open up their Chromebook. It does start up or turn on as soon as they open their lid, and it prompts them to sign into their Chromebook by entering their email. Now, we follow a very specific format for student emails and passwords, K through 5, and for emails K through 12, but passwords K through 5. Their emails are created by using their first initial, their last name, and their year of graduation, followed by @scarboroughschools.org. That just helps to keep it simpler, so it's a consistent format all the way through. We do not use any hyphens or apostrophes within their usernames. There are a few exceptions to that, though, and if you're having trouble logging in, there's a way to get some help with that, which we talked about at the beginning, we'll talk about again at the end. So for example, John Doe, class of 2030, their login would be jdoe2030 @scarboroughschools.org. For the passwords, the next slide, For the passwords, all of our students are assigned a 6-digit school ID, and we call it our lunch numbers as well here at Wentworth, because that's the number that they use for our point of sale for our lunchroom. So their password for Google is created using their lunch number or student ID. So it's 000 followed by their 6-digit lunch ID. Oh, 5-digit lunch ID, my bad. So John Doe's school ID is 16212. So his password would be 000 16212.
All right, the next slide is mine, and I'm going to talk to you about school Google accounts. Just like Joellen mentioned, students will use that account in order to log into their computer at grades 3 through 5, and then they'll be logged in using that same account when they use their Clever badge. So when they are logged into their Chromebook, they're automatically logged onto their Google account. In the top right, you'll see either a profile picture or a first initial when in a Google application. So if you're in Google Drive or if you're in Google Meet, and that will indicate that the person is signed in, the student signed in. Also, the school and Google accounts are for school use only. Okay, so the K2 student Chrome tabs, this is what students will see when they log in. And at the top, I'm going to read them to you. They're a little bit small to see, so I'm going to read them to you. It says Scarborough Kids website. And then the next one, there's a teeny tiny C that's blue, and that's Clever. So those are our two really important tabs in the pages that we will use most frequently. I also have put an arrow next to a star. And another good tip is to bookmark those two important websites, because those are websites that students will go back to often. They'll need those websites in order to access the most important online content. Okay, and you can go to the next one. Okay, great. So when students get to Clever, they go to that Clever tab that we saw that had the little blue C. This is what they're going to see. And the first time they go to Clever, they're going to log in with their Clever badge again. So they're going to scan that QR code when they select Clever badge login. And that's going to, when they log into Clever, that's going to bring them to many of the applications that they will need to use. So this should be a good improvement over last year, where we are able to easily get to applications that we will be using.
Okay, whoever's running my slideshow, this has some animation, not very exciting, but instead of clicking your next slide, just click somewhere on the tab and it will pop up my student tabs. Thank you. Okay, so the first tab that 3-5 students see when they log into their Chrome account and the Chromebook is this Wentworth School website. From here, they can navigate to all different academic websites and support services and information here. Go ahead and click on the slide anywhere. Instead of next, just click, oh, my lights just went out, sorry. I'm in my classroom and the lights went out. There we go. The next tab is Clever, similar to what Courtney just talked about at K2. We will guide students in logging in to Clever because we use a slightly different way rather than the badges. Click again on the screen. The next tab on our students' Chromebooks is their email. That's already set as a startup tab for our students, so it will be one of the tabs along the top. And then click again, please. Then it goes to the Wentworth School Learning Commons page. You'll find a bunch of different book lists and links to Sora and some of our other resources that our Learning Commons staff have put together for students. And one more click. And the last tab for our students is Kiddle. Kiddle is a kid-friendly search engine that we use instead of Google. Because Google is a search engine that's made for grown-ups and it gives us 300 million results as you search for anything, and it's very difficult for our children to slog through all those results. And it also gives so many results. Kiddle narrows it down. It's appropriate for grades 2 through 8-ish. It gives educationally appropriate results. It filters out inappropriate results. And it is at a readability, it gives results at a readability level, oh my gosh, for our students in grades 2 through 8-ish. So we ask that our students not use Google as a search engine. We give them Kiddle as one of their default tabs, and it is actually their default search engine. Should students not be able to find what they need searching with Google, we ask that they please have supervision and guidance in using Google. They can go to google.com and do a direct search through that site. But again, we ask for supervision and guidance when using Google. Thanks. Now I can go to the next slide. Okay, this is me too. Expected behavior for Scarborough Public Schools Chromebooks. These are the 5 expected behaviors that we reinforce with our students, and I'll just go through each one quickly. I keep my device clean and tidy. We ask students not to put stickers on their device, not to peel off the labels and things like that. We ask students to please be aware of where their device is at all times, to not leave it unattended on the floor or in their bedroom and they don't know exactly where it is. So please try to keep track of their device. This is a biggie. I use my device for schoolwork only, and that includes their school account. So they have their Chromebook and they have their school Google account, and we do ask that they use that for schoolwork only. They do have, we do tell kids there's no expectation of privacy, that we can and do check on their accounts occasionally, and they should be using it only for schoolwork. They should not be searching YouTube, finding funny memes and sharing those with friends, just emailing their friends to chat, things like that. So we do try to direct them and build the expected behaviors around using their school device and account only for schoolwork. And of course, we get a million what ifs. What if my teacher tells me to look up pictures of dogs? Okay, your teacher tells you, absolutely, go for it. But try to help students to understand their responsibility and give them a little bit of independence while keeping it appropriate. I treat my device with care. We do reinforce with students to please carry their Chromebook with 2 hands. And the students always roll their eyes at me with this one, but I say, hold the railing when you go up and down the stairs. I know that you've been running up and down the stairs for most of your life, but you don't usually carry a $500 Chromebook. So we ask them to please hold the railing, and that leaves one hand to carry the Chromebook, so to grasp that and press it to their body. And then when they reach the top or the bottom, to hold it with the other hand. Just some basic, treat your device with care. No food or drink near your device, please. Just some of the common sense pieces like that. And lastly, all of these other expected behaviors lead into being a good digital citizen. We do a number of digital citizenship lessons with our students each year. In fact, we're proud to be a Common Sense Media digital citizenship recognized school through our, up through, I believe, through 8th grade, through our 8th grade schools. And that's something that we've worked toward for several years, and we're pretty proud of that accomplishment. And that's part of our work with digital citizenship and our Common Sense Media lessons. And next slide. Oh, is this one me too? Okay. So Google Meet is a video conferencing tool, and our teachers and our students will be using that to connect in a live or synchronous manner. Let's talk a little bit about that. On to the next slide. We do have a very specific way in which we ask our teachers to create Google Meets so that it is safe for our students to access. And there's, they only join a Google Meet when there is an adult present. Excuse me. There are 2 distinct ways in which students can join a Google Meet. Our K2 students have that Scarborough Kids website as one of their startup tabs. And there is a link directly on there that says Google Meet. They can click there and it will launch the application. For the 3-5 students, we guide our students to go through we call it the Waffle, up in the upper right-hand corner. You see the 3x3 grid, kind of looks like a little breakfast waffle. So we say, click the Waffle, and then they select the Google Meet icon from there. When they click that, they will go to a screen that looks like this, and it will ask them to use a meeting code. Now, teachers that they are connecting with via Google Meet are setting up their Google Meet with a nickname. Instead of sending a link directly to students to click, they should be sending a nickname to their students, and the students will take that nickname and type it in. For example, Mr. Marshall may call his nickname Marshall1 or Marshall 231 if that's his room number. Excuse me. Sorry. So they should be sharing a meeting code or a nickname with their students, and then students will type that in to join the meet. Again, this provides a safe way so that the teacher has to actually start the meet before the students can join the meet. And it also makes it so the students can't rejoin the meet after the teacher has left. You'll see here a link in the upper right-hand corner for grades K2, a student tutorial, and another for grades 3-5, student tutorial. The next. These are some expectations that we share with our students, some expected behavior during a Google Meet session. We ask them to think about a presentable space and to dress just like they would in school, to mute their microphone unless their teacher directs them or they have something specific to share to participate in the conversation. We do ask them to raise their hand to speak and of course to stay on topic. Always be kind and respectful. Only join a meet that a teacher has started. And we do ask students to not take any video or photos during a Google Meet due to privacy issues for other students. And this is me too. So our grades 3-5 students have access to email via the Google Suite, so it's Gmail. This is to be used as a communication between teachers and students. Our students can only receive and send emails within our domain. So that means to anyone else with an @scarboroughschools.org email address. So parents can't email students, students can't email parents from their school email address. Students will get detailed information here at school about how to access their email and those expected behaviors. And that is part of the video that's linked to your school Chromebook video. That's shown by home, and our remote learners will have the opportunity to see that video as well. That goes into a lot of detail about accessing Gmail and etiquette, things like that. Part of our Gmail application is tied to Hangouts chat. That is a chat feature, and when Gmail is on, Hangouts chat is on. We are guiding our students not to use Hangouts chat. And again, this is only grades 3-5 because K2 does not have access to Gmail. For our 3-5 students, we ask to not use Hangouts chat. We are asking our teachers to reinforce that and not use that with students. Honestly, no different than them being email about that we are guiding our Hangouts chat. And again, this is only grades 5 because they do not have access to Gmail there. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Would you
Okay,
like?
thank you. Wonderful. Okay, so I want to share with you just a very brief overview of Seesaw. And Seesaw will be used in grades K-5 as a place to find on-demand or asynchronous work for students. So they will find activities that are assigned to them. They'll find posts. They'll find announcements from their teacher. And on September 14th, next Monday, at the same time, 6 o'clock, we're going to have a Parent University on Seesaw 101, and that will focus all on Seesaw. But I'm going to try to share my screen now so I can give you just a teeny tiny glimpse of Seesaw. So let's see. This is the one that I want to share. Okay. So here I am in Seesaw, and I'm in as a student. When I look at the right side, I see the name of my class, and I see my name. In this case, I'm logged in as Test 1. I have Journal highlighted here, and so in this stream, I can scroll down and I can see anything that is in my journal. If I click on Activities, I see a notification of 3 activities waiting for me. And so when I scroll down here, I see what 3 activities my teacher or teachers have assigned to me. Also, below where it says activities, there are 3 options. One is things to do, one is things in progress or drafts, and the last one is things that are completed. Finally, on the right-hand side, there's an inbox, and any messages that the teacher would have left will appear here. And this is where students can see them. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now because what you just saw was the student or the class app. There are 2 separate apps that you will be using this year. Your student will be using the class app, and that is where she or he can find all of those pieces that I just mentioned, including activities. And then there's also the family app. So once we get students up and going on the class app, we are going to ask families to get up on the family app, and they will get notifications of announcements. They will also see when their students' work has been approved by their teacher, and they can comment on their child's posts that they've made. So this is going to be a way that we can streamline communication, both with families as well as with students. So that's just a teeny tiny glimpse of Seesaw. We wanted to start today by giving you a big picture technology introduction. And like I said, next week we will zoom in and talk more about how Seesaw will be used this year.
And this last piece is mine, and this is how to sign out of a Chrome account. When your students are done, when your children are done using their Chromebook for the day, we do ask them to sign out of their Chrome account and then shut down their computer so that it can charge fully, and when it restarts, it gets any updates to the Chrome operating system. So I wanted to just run you through those steps. When students are done, they will see a sign out box in the bottom right-hand corner of their screen, so they'll click that. To the next slide. Then they will see a little countdown on their screen. I tell the kids, don't waste the 20 seconds of your life, click the sign out now. So they would click that. And then their screen goes black and everybody thinks that their computer shut down and they close the lid. That's simply signing them out of their Chrome account, not shutting down their Chromebook. The last step, they wait about 20 seconds, feels like about 800 seconds, but they wait long enough and the screen comes back to this. This is prompting students to log back in. It assumes that someone else is going to log in or the student's going to log back in. They would simply click the shutdown in the bottom left-hand corner. The screen will go white and then the device will turn off completely and they can close the lid.
Thank you so much, Courtney and Joellen. Much appreciated. Now is our opportunity. If parents have any questions of us, we can respond to them here tonight. If you would raise your hand and Kelly will let you in to ask a question. If we're unable to ask a question, we'll get that answer to you and post it.
You are unmuted. Who just raised their hand? Sorry, I don't know your name.
Hi, this is David Pettit. I have two boys starting at Bloom Point in kindergarten this year, and looking around their Chromebooks a little bit, we've seen there are quite a few games. Seemingly, we haven't really, questioned why they're there, but we're trying to understand the rationale for all the links on their computers. And we have a girl in Wentworth whose computer seems to have comparatively limited resources on there. So I'm curious about the decision about how the kindergartners' Chromebooks are set up as compared to the kids at Wentworth.
Courtney, I will correct me if I'm mistaken on this. There are games available. I'm not sure how you're accessing those, if those are via the website, but our teachers do use games to reinforce and practice skills, particularly for our younger aged students. Courtney?
Yeah, thanks. There are across the bottom of the Chromebooks, there's a shelf. And I'm wondering, David, if that's what you're referring to. And across that shelf, there are several games and activities. I will say that those are not frequently used. The things that are most used are the ones that are on the Scarborough Kids website. And then I'll add to that we talked tonight about a few of the applications that will be most commonly used, and those are Seesaw for asynchronous activities and Google Meet for synchronous meets with the teacher. The teachers slowly introduce what applications to use, and usually the way that they do it is they'll tell their students which applications they can be on. A couple of places that they start are Starfall and ABC frequently for them to be able to learn how to navigate the computer. And So students, when they're at school, do not have free access to those activities. And I would also suggest that keeping the activities that are chosen at the beginning, especially to ones that the teacher has asked them to do, will limit screen time and keep the focus on the curricular areas that they are working on.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Other questions? If you have a question, if you would raise your hand. Another question?
Go ahead. Who just raised their hand? You are all set to talk.
Hi, my daughter's in the 3rd grade. I'm wondering how the teacher is going to send us our meeting information each day. Is that going to be a different code each day? Will it be the same code that they'll keep using? Just trying to make it as easy as possible for her to sign in by herself without me helping her.
Absolutely. Thanks for the question. I am encouraging teachers to use a consistent nickname for their Google Meet, just so that, for the sake of our students, to be able to access it much easier. If they use that same nickname each time, it will be most helpful. Students do not have the ability to start a Google Meet. So if they try to join a meet entering that nickname, it will not let them in. It will say the teacher or the host has not started the meeting yet, or there is no meeting by this name yet. So once the teacher starts it, then it will let the student in. So it is safe for them to use the same nickname each time. And again, I'm encouraging our teachers to do that just for the sake of ease for our students.
But
Communications may happen through student email for Wentworth. Teachers should not be sending a link to click for Google Meet. So it should be just a consistent nickname.
Thank you.
And that should be the same at K2, where they're using a consistent name. And the way that they will get that information as we're starting will likely be through parent email, but once we're up and running on Seesaw, will be through Seesaw.
Thanks.
If anyone else has a question, please feel free to raise your hand. If you hover at the bottom of your screen, you'll see an option to raise your hand, and Kelly, that will signal Kelly to let you in.
You are unmuted. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah, just real quick, you said that this presentation would be sent out later on. Is that going to be tonight or?
It's actually already posted. If you go to scarboroughschools.org, you'll notice on that page, there's a school news section in the center, and I believe it's posted there already.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And this YouTube will be posted tomorrow, the actual video.
Oh, the YouTube video will post tomorrow. Thank you. Feel free to ask away questions. That's what we're here for.
We have another hand up.
Go ahead and ask your question. You're on.
Hi, my name's Marie. My daughter is starting kindergarten. Would it be accurate to say that this tech support at scarboroughschools.org is what we should do if going forward something's not working right? Email that address?
Yes, that address, we have IT, our IT department staffs that. And if it's a question that the tech coaches can help you out with, it will get forwarded to them. If it's a hardware issue that they can help resolve, they'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you. Because we don't have any questions at the moment, but we can certainly imagine that as we try new things, some questions may arise.
Absolutely. That is the email address to memorize and bookmark and put in your favorites list.
I would add to that your child's teacher is a great resource as well. They have so much information and specific information for the assignments that they're giving out and the links and things like that. So that might be a great starting point as well.
That's a good point, Joellen. If it's a question about an assignment in particular, your child's teacher would be the person to contact. If it's a problem, a technology problem in terms of an application, then this tech support number would be the best way. Email address would be the best way to get in touch.
Yeah, I'll add to that too. It would be helpful if for parents to put in the grade level in the teacher that their child has, because sometimes when the support tickets come to the tech coaches, we're trying to narrow down what exactly it is that is happening, and sometimes it's helpful for us to be able to go into that teacher's virtual classroom, their Seesaw class, and see what's going on.
You have another question?
Oops.
Hello. Is there a recommended way for our kids to be able to communicate or keep in touch with friends who are not going to be attending school, who are staying home remotely? Like, I know they're only supposed to use their email for teacher communication, and I understand that, but we're a fairly device-free household, so it would really be great if there was a resource through the Chromebook that they could use to keep in touch with their friends that they miss, that they don't get to see. Whether it's Google Meets or Zoom or whatever is a recommended thing to use that won't get them in trouble.
I would have to explore that. One of the things that we are very careful about, just like when students are in school, in a physical building, we like to supervise our students. And so in this online world, we've been hesitant to set up student-only areas to collaborate and to chat just because of the supervision issue, but we can certainly problem solve that and see what we might be able to provide in terms of a supervised opportunity for students to connect with each other.
Aside from school devices, I know a lot of people use the, I think it's the Kids Messenger app. I don't know if that's an iOS app or an Android app, or I don't believe it's a Chromebook piece, but that may be something to look into. Again, I haven't used it. My son's older and has a different manner of communicating with others. But Courtney, do you have any experience with the Kids Messenger app?
I do, and my daughter is 10, and she does use that, and it's under my purview and under my account, and so I keep that separate from her school device, and it's pretty much on my device just so that I can keep a close eye on it.
Okay, you are on.
Hi, I have a daughter who is stepping into 4th grade, and I have a son getting into kindergarten. So my question here is like what would be the day-to-day schedule in which the kids would be meeting with the teacher, and we are undergo at CS, both of them.
Could you repeat the question? Is it specific to your kindergartner or your fourth grader?
For both.
For both. In terms of how the teacher will reach out?
So like, I think like there would be a day-to-day kind of meeting between the kids and the teacher, right? Is it kind of like 3 sessions per day, or is it going to be a day-long session? Like, so what kind of, would there be intervals, or we don't know the kind of like, we don't have an exact clear picture on like how long a day schedule will be between the kids and the teacher.
Yes, for both fourth grade and for kindergarten, if students are all remote, there will be a schedule. K through 5, the day will begin with a morning meeting. Tomorrow being the first full day of first day for remote students. If you should be hearing from your teachers in terms of what a schedule might look like during those days. But the K-5 folks are going to do a morning meeting, and that will be a live option. And then throughout the day, there'll be opportunities and a schedule will be provided when students would log in to engage with the teacher, and then when they would be doing independent activities. So if you don't hear from your child's teacher by around lunchtime tomorrow, please reach out to the building principal to get that information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A great point, Monique, to reach out to the child's teacher, because things are developing as we go. We're still working out schedules and expectations for when we will meet with students, but that morning meeting is a given, that each morning remote and hybrid teachers will be connecting with those students that are remote for a synchronous morning meeting. But other than that, the schedule may differ from classroom to classroom, but there should be some communication coming. Just a reminder as well that our start of the school year is going to look very different. We are focusing on our social emotional well-being of our students and trying to build connections and community with our students and our teachers. So be patient and hold on those academic expectations, but expect that there will be a decent amount of communication and connection between students and teachers coming very soon.
I thought I saw more hands in the air.
Go ahead, you're unmuted.
Thank you. This isn't necessarily a question, but maybe more of some feedback. I have 3 children that are in different schools. And as a parent, I know that they use Google Meet and the other Google tools from the Chromebooks, and that's awesome. But as a parent, it's sometimes hard for me to access these things when communications are sent out. Sometimes I can't get to the Google Docs. It's easier if they get sent out as a PDF or some other way, so that it doesn't require me to install some kind or set up a Google account or other things like that, especially with Google Meet, for example.
For Wentworth students, I would say their Google Meets, actually for any of their work, it should be done through the student's Google account. Whether you're using a home device or a Chromebook, that wouldn't really matter in that piece, but through their Google account would be the best way. That way, if there's something that the teacher has shared specifically with the student and not made it available for anyone on the internet to access, you should be able to get that through the student's account. If there's something that you can't access, feel free to reach out to the teacher. We're working on those sharing permissions. We're all learning, and as we all know, Google is constantly in beta and changing what they offer and how they offer things. And as things change, we have to adjust, so we don't always keep up with those sharing permissions and miss a little tick mark and don't make it perfectly public. So feel free to reach out as needed as well.
Thank you. Would that be for the tech support or for the teacher, did you say?
If you can't access a document or such, I would start with the teacher.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. That's helpful information as we try to make things as transparent and available to everyone as possible appropriately. We also, through our single sign-on solution this year, Clever, there is an ability for parents to have a login to that, and that would provide you the opportunity to see more. We just are trying to roll it out slowly and carefully as we move forward. But that's very helpful. Thank you. There's a question.
If you could raise your hand again, please.
It just disappeared.
Yeah. There we go. Go ahead, you're unmuted. Nope.
Do you have a question?
For whatever reason, it's not letting me unmute this person. I apologize. Your hand is raised and I cannot unmute you.
I'll try.
Can you see if you have your microphone off?
Looks as though they're let in. They're in as a panelist now, but they're muted. So if they can just unmute perhaps.
I could try that.
Oh, it was off for a moment.
I'm sorry, it won't unmute.
So my teachers find comfort in this, that even the tech people have tech difficulties. It's part of what it is. We all love technology, right?
Mhm.
More questions? Well, we apologize for the technology glitches. Please feel free to contact me at mculbertson@scarboroughschools.org or submit a tech support ticket and they will forward that right to me if you have more questions. Again, if it's specific to what's happening with your child and it's an assignment-oriented kind of thing, please feel free to reach out to your classroom teacher. If it's a technical problem, either with the software or with the hardware, the tech support email down below will be able to provide us, help us to problem solve the issue. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and joining us. We very much appreciate it as we launch a new year during these unique times. I want to thank Courtney and Joellen for the work that they're doing with all of their teachers and with their parents as well in our school community. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much, folks, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Are you there, Kelly?
I am. I'll have to ask Dawn some questions.
We have another. Okay. We'll follow up tomorrow then. That was curious.
Yeah. I will, yeah, I'll ask Dawn some of those questions that came up today so we can resolve that for next week.
Okay. Thank you so much for your help.